Record. Some people will quit because of you. That one of the strengths of a leader is seen in how many people connect with him or her. As has been said, for you to lead people effectively, they must trust you and they have to believe in you. You will be surprised at how many people quit the organization because of specific individuals, specific leaders, not because of pay or because of any other thing. Yeah, not because of something has happened in the family, but a large number of people, and that was discussed, always quit because of the leadership. Yeah, an important point to note is that if, as a leader, you are not adequately equipped for the task, you're going to lose more capable people and well-meaning team members. Most times, the critical people will go because they realize that they are not adding any value, they are not getting any value from your leadership. You have to keep learning to keep growing, more so the soft skills, the communication, how to influence people, how to inspire them, so that they see the value in you. Else, they are likely to look elsewhere. And there is no way you are going to lead people who are not pledging their loyalty to you. You don't coerce loyalty, you inspire it. So they will not settle until they find a suitable alternative elsewhere. Part of the reason your leadership might throw your people away include when they feel lack of support, care, opportunity. And we said people don't care how much you know until they know that you really care for them, how much you care. So it's not the big CV, it's not the courses you've done. You see, we've seen CVs that go into over 100 pages, yeah, and lots of credentials, but they will not give you that respect, loyalty, until they know that besides all that, you are humble enough and care for them, and you're there for their good. So some of the things we said that can help you keep people is, one is you do your best when you are recruiting. You can keep recruiting, keep looking for new talents, new skills, people who are a good match to your organization. And then you give them the right information. And that is where honesty comes in. You do not over exaggerate. I've seen leaders exaggerating how good their company is or the opportunity. And then when somebody gets in, they realize that it's actually much, much less than what was poised. So you start by breaching that trust, by breaking that trust. We say this when we are teaching people in sales that, and in customer service, and even in sales, don't overpromise. Yeah, instead over-deliver. You can always be moderate, conservative when you are telling people about a product, about your company, about the services. But when it comes to delivery, amaze them. And that happens in any relationship, including what we were talking about. Yeah, most times we call it BOP. People just come to present business and they will post themselves to be the best version. Yes, even if somebody is one who loves talking, and not listening. Those days they will keep cool. They will be behaving. People are coming, somebody is coming to visit you, you are clean in your house, while naturally you are not. So instead of being the person you are, you pose a fake product, which is part of what we discussed when we were talking about branding. Branding yourself, branding your organization, and things like that. So let's be modest in our promise, but when it comes to delivery, as my friend says, deliver the goods. Bullshit can only take you so far. And appreciation and recognition. If we do not appreciate their efforts and recognize their value into our organization, for some reason they are going to feel that they don't belong. And our intention as leaders is to make them feel part of the organization, important part of the organization, and that their contribution is worth it. So that's where we are going to pick it from. And part of the questions that were raised last week, good to see Maurice is here. Welcome, Musa, Cecily, Jane. So part of the questions that were raised last week was, how do we deal with people? I think we can start with people who are more experienced than we are. They've been there long enough than we are. We are just new people. And I've seen this with many organizations. Sometimes people feel like there is going to be promotion from within. Then it doesn't happen. The people who are posting themselves to be promoted to go to that level, it just doesn't happen. Somebody else is picked from elsewhere and put there to be at the top. And these people must learn again the local system, how everything works. If you are there before, you are going to mentor them. So you take yourself as that person. You are still supposed to be mentored into how things have been running here, what this means, what the other one means. So how do we deal with that? And I think that's a good point to start. Yes, and I know a number of you have contributed in this recruitment thing, and you've always made such decisions. So let's hear, how do we deal with that?
It's a pretty tricky situation. However, it is, I would say, go confidently and ready to learn. Where applicable, do a good background check about maybe the position or even the organization. And when you go there, be ready to learn. Be open, and also maybe the issue of humility would also be pretty important at that point. So that now you don't go there with the boss attitude. Go there with a colleague attitude. I'm here with you, and I want to learn, so that we can grow together. So that now it is not the boss subordinate aspect. That's in a nutshell is what I can say.
I feel it's a balancing act. So I really need to be wise in how I manage this situation, in that as much as I want to get their buy-in or their support, as much as I want their support, I also qualified for that position, and based on qualifications, I have gotten that job. So I would respect them, respect their opinions, their feelings also, acknowledge that they are not very, very comfortable with me, but find ways in which I can incorporate them and make them feel important or part of the team. It's all making it look like a win-win situation where I'm not the one who's running the show on my own, but also getting them to come in and we can collaborate and work together towards a common goal. So just being clear, yes, I've gotten the job based on qualification, but I also need your support. And also me winning is you winning. So we all win, win-win.
Thank you. I think that should bring in a very beautiful aspect of that question. How do you get people to respect you? The people you work with. Let's get contributions from the floor. People, we can raise up our hands and speak. How do you get your colleagues to give you the due respect? Yes?
Okay, I worked with a recent group in the same scenario. And first for me is to deal with their grieving and loss, because one of them expected that they would be given this position. She even went for interview and all that. So I think the first is to learn how to develop trust and bring them on board. And you also get on board. So there's need to, people skills is one of the things that would make you be accepted in this group, because they were a group that were existing. And that's how they held their place. The organization was not closed before you came. So there's need to also, there's need for prayers, there's need also to not get in with the mentality of you qualified better than them, but people responsibility and relationship and building of trust, and always being able to listen to them as they grieve the process that you actually took. So they feel like they were cheated on, they feel like the organization does not value them, they feel like a stranger is being brought on in the team to lead them, yet they qualify.
Thank you very much. That is a typical scenario we are talking about. A typical scenario. Yeah, somebody else would like to contribute on the same before we move to another question?
Thanks. This question has just reminded me on of a scenario that we've had in our company a few weeks earlier. There was a young man who was promoted to the engineering department, and came and found people who had worked there for over 8 years. And so these guys were asking themselves, these were the grapevines within the office. They were asking themselves, why could they just promote one of us who's been with us for all that while? Why bring a young person who does not understand the system? And they want us now to train the guy, and the guy is being bossy. So this thing has made me to ask myself so many questions, that as a leader, when you're brought into such establishment, perhaps the first thing is to understand the work dynamics. That's number one. Number two, which most people don't always take keen note of. You always also have to understand the office politics before you engage further, because most of these establishments, like in our place, people say you don't mess with so and so. If you mess with him, you are a gone person. So you also need to understand that. But above all, even as you get into a new team, you need to understand the challenges that the company has been facing, or the organization has been facing. After you've understood the challenges, now then you can propose or bring in fresh perspectives towards mitigating the challenges that are being experienced. Of course, even as you get into this position, you also need to be paying more attention to details, even as you continue to embrace yourself to your new colleagues. And currently, you also need to embrace technology to make things work for you as a leader. That's all from me.
Thank you. Yeah, the bit of technology, we need to know how to better use it, more so when we want to build relationship. Remember, we are building relationship here.
For me, I think respect is earned, as they say, respect is earned, not commanded. So, and it's respect, I think, is more about influence. So, to earn that respect, number one, even if I'm in a senior position, I need to let the people know, because sometimes there could be changes that are necessitated. But for most employees, they want to know what is in it for me. So it is to show them what is in it for them, so that it is not just for the organization, but also for you as an individual in the long run. This change, this is what is going to happen. And in as much as also it is possible to also ensure you make people a part of the process, so that they feel that you're also getting their input, that aspect of consultation. In a nutshell, that is it.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Actually, the truth sometimes is we may blame our leaders or our team or our bosses while we are the problem. And, the first step of solving a problem, I love to say, is always to identify the problem. And as long as we are shooting in the dark, we've not identified the real problem, we will not get a solution. So I think it's good to note that at times we are the problem. and not somebody else, not the team. And you'll be surprised that that could be most of the times, if not just a good number of times. Thank you very much, Anthony. Somebody else would like to say something about the same?
Saying, I look at it from two dimensions. You are the person who has been given that role. You find that there are so many people who are senior than you. You've been promoted. And the other angle is you are in that department, and mysteriously this new person has come in, and you are the most experienced person, and you're wondering what happened to the senses of reasoning. Why did this person come from this far part to become my boss? Now, in the first instance where you have been informed that you are the boss of this team, and this person whom you are looking at, there are this team of people, they actually try to make you know that you should know we have been here, we've seen it all, so don't tell us anything. I like what the last speaker said, respect is earned. You have to balance between respect and also your duty, because very few leaders who would want to be respected if they are not feared. In fact, majority of leaders like to be feared, but they also want to be respected. So that is a tricky discussion if you were to ask me, because on one end, you want to say this is what you want us to do, and you have it done because people fear you. On the other end, you also want to balance and say, no, I think I don't need to go too much on them. But then if you are in that category, they will like you, they will even admire you, but some things will not be done. So how do you balance that is another discussion altogether. So you need to make sure that even these people who are very, very knowledgeable, senior than you in terms of the organization they've been staying in, you need to win in on their side, win them in rather to come to your side, so that they actually are the ones who help you to push an agenda. How you do that is a wisdom that you really need prayerfully to consider. On the other hand, if you are in the position where you find there's a person who has been promoted and you've been there hoping that you're the one, you probably you are going to be the asset this person needs. In fact, on the contrary, you may want to do your best to make sure that this new boss, quote unquote, finds that you are the most reasonable person to work with. Now, how that one works may be easier said than done, because the pain of a human being is, I hope I was going to be the one. And we normally preach that promotion does not come from east or west, but it comes from the Lord. And here you are with this person who has appeared from nowhere, and you're like, wait, I wish they knew that I really wanted to be that position. At least that is the best I can say as of now, because I don't want to take much of your time. You are the one with the mic. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the previous speakers actually said a lot of what I wanted to say, but I also wanted to add that when you are appointed into any position, especially when you have gone through a full interview process and you have emerged, you've been recruited, there is something special in you that even though you are going to work with people who have been there for a longer time, the panel has seen something unique in you. So you might be younger, you might be having less experience, but you could be having a quality which has made you exceed over the other people. So I think in addition to what other people have said, I think when you are in a position where you are the leader, you need to do a retrospect and find out, why was I appointed over these other people? And therefore, maybe you are being brought about to complement or to bring in a new dimension which is not there. So I will encourage, what I will do and what I've tried to do myself is not really to try to compete with the people who are there, because already they are doing whatever they're doing even before you came, but try to find out that which part of that particular zigzag or chain are you coming to fill, and do it to your best. And of course, the other people have spoken about, even yourself, you talked about caring for the people. I think that is very crucial, and it's a big challenge for many of us, how to really care for the people whom you find there, to understand them, to know where they're coming from, because the reality of the matter is that that human feeling will always be there. So I think just from your books and even these other books about being the 5 levels of leadership, after you have gotten the position, you have to produce, in the sense that you have to be seen to be working. You're not just coming here to earn a big salary and not performing. So you don't come there to become like a boss and to boss over people, but you come there to produce. So I think my main contribution into this discussion is take into account or think about why you are appointed, and try to do what you are appointed about. Do not be so insecure, because sometimes these feelings come in when you are feeling insecure. You're feeling as if you've been given a favor, as if you did not deserve a position, and therefore you start feeling some sort of insecurity. You think that you would be exposed. So I think get into the job, learn why you are appointed, and do your best, as well as the other contributions that we're talking about, caring about people, learning about the job, knowing the history there, but to not get mixed into the middle and the muddle, because there are some people who might also want to take you and start telling you, you know, this is the person who was supposed to be the boss, this was supposed, and then you start feeling insecurity. Yeah, that's what I can contribute to this, Paul Peters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maurice. Maybe just to sum that up so that we move into the next one is, I'd like to suggest the following. One is, there are 3 C's that I love talking about when it comes to leadership. One is competence, and then character, and then chemistry. Competence is be somebody who knows your job. You know, leaders are always lifted from a technical domain. Say, for example, like Musa, I know you are in telecommunications. The moment you master telecommunications so well that people want to learn it from you, you by default become a leader. So the moment we master our domain very well, that we become an authority, by default we become a leader. But we cannot come that we do not even understand our own. I have credentials maybe on, let's say, surgery or something like that, but I'm not very competent in that field, then I've not earned that right. I will still need to depend on other people, but I need to be an authority, first of all, in my field, not in every field, but in my field. And then I learn the soft skills to relate with the other field. The other thing is, that is competence. Then character is, I need to have solid character, not questionable. Even if somebody did a background check, they will still find that I always have a good character that can be relied on. And then chemistry is how you relate with people. How do you relate with them and connect with them? And so about this, I'd like to suggest one is, and we discussed it previously, is a sense of humor. A leader is not this person who is always stone-faced. You mean business all the time, so your face is scary. I love to say that if you position yourself somewhere in the streets, do you think somebody can come and ask for a direction from you? If they cannot, if nobody can, they feel like you are scary. In your position of leadership, probably people will not come. You will be scaring people. So it's good to have some degree of some sense of humor. Sometimes you also crack some little jokes so that, and sense jokes that make sense. And not you crack a joke, you are the one who laughs up to the end, nobody understood it. Yeah. So that's a topic of another day. Let's have some sense of humor. You are in that position, get people to speak their minds, to speak about themselves also. People love talking about themselves. So ask them, tell me something about yourself, Monica. Oh, which school did you go to? Whatever. And affirm them. Oh, that's nice. Actually, I wanted to be in that school. Say something good about them. You will start connecting. You can do this in a group. Doing it in a group, I love sitting in a circle or semi-circle, if that works. But I love circle better so that there is nobody. This idea of podium and people in front, stop it. You just need people to sit in a circle and people to talk about themselves. So how was your childhood? People will love to talk about themselves, and others will love to listen to their stories. The moment we learn people's stories and backgrounds, we find where to connect. Affirm and appreciate their achievements. Yes, affirm and appreciate their achievements. And whenever they do something, affirm it. In fact, some people can say what they've gone through. Suppose you are the one in that position, you've been brought in. Recognize, actually, I think you are better qualified to be in this position. Only that I was not the one in the interview panel. Maybe I would have chosen you, but I will rely on your prowess. You know, these positions, God's ways are not our ways. Yes, I prayed for it. I know you prayed for it. God answered my prayer. So I think if we work together, there will be better positions that can come, and who knows, maybe we will keep working together even outside this organization. Let people know that you value them, and get their expectations one-on-one and even as a group. Where do you think we should lead from now? How do you think we need to handle this? How do you think we need to move on? Or what do you expect of me? And something like that. When you get people's expectations and you get their own wishes, their own dreams, their own ambition, where they want to be, you will start connecting, and they will feel like you really want them to walk towards that, and find a way that you can be of value in their lives. These are, I'm mentioning them in part and in passing, but they are very critical points that have been able to develop people. And tell stories. Be somebody who can relate with the story. One of the greatest teachers that ever lived, actually the greatest, taught in stories, and that is Jesus. Let's be storytellers. If you read books that have stories, you relate with it more. Why? Facts tell, but stories sell. Stories will help you to link with people much better. Now, I read one book not long ago, and one of the sections of the book was saying, where is the best position for a leader in an organization? Where should they sit? Is it at the center? Is it at the edge? Is it at the back end? Where should leaders sit? Maybe somebody can tell me something about that. John, where do you think a leader should sit? Take leadership as maybe a bus or something like that. Should they sit at the edge? Should they sit at the center? Where should they be? This is very philosophical. Yeah? Who would like to say a word about that? No one is sure. Now, this is what the book was saying, and I got it. Yes?
Maybe what I can say, Paul,
Yes?
is that a leader should not be in a fixed position, in the sense that at times you should be ahead, in the sense that you should be able to see ahead and be able to see what people are not seeing.
Yes.
At the same time, you should be at the tail end where you're able to walk with the slowest.
Yeah.
Because it will not make sense for you to run so fast, only to discover that the people you are leading, they dropped so many kilometers away.
Good.
And at the same time, you also need to be in the middle, in the sense that you are a leader, you are encouraging people to move. So I'm also responding in a philosophical way, in the sense that a leader
so that you are not marked wrong.
Yes,
thank you.
Be able to go to the front and run back to the end. But I also wanted, in addition to the 3 C's you talked about, I added 2 more. Hello,
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm getting you.
Yeah, and this is partly what about the issue of confidence and courage. You know, I was speaking about Nani. You know this, Kumbuka Powell.
Yes.
Yes, there is something. Powell was being this former chief of staff of the United States. He was being interviewed about what had made him successful. And one of the things, in addition to saying about trust and the others, he talked about confidence and courage. And he was saying that as a leader, you must display confidence throughout, because the moment you show as if you're not sure, the moment you show fear, that goes through the whole team. So Powell was saying that there were days they could go into battle in the dark of the night and it is very, very cold, but inside he is very afraid, but outside he has to show that he's very confident, he knows what he's doing. And that is why he was able to encourage people and they were able to win a lot of battles. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that as a leader, we need to learn how to be confident. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maurice. You've added into, actually there are 7 C's. I just wanted to talk of 3. So for the sake of time. And if you've gone through this book, you know that we talked about courage at some point. So thank you very much. And I wanted to say that the best position you need to be in when you are getting into an organization is be in the middle and learn how it works, but then be at the edge to see where people should go. Take your seat at the bus driver's place so that you know, otherwise you'll be into lots of politics that are not moving people anywhere. You are the driver, see where we are not so that we can go there and inspire us to go there. I think we need to move to the next question, which was to do with how do you inspire people? I know I've spoken a few points about the same, and because we are running out of time, we can talk briefly about the same. How do you inspire people to be their best? Somebody can mention something about the same?
I think it's being number one, by being very honest, because you can only inspire people if it's just around what you have said, around character. Can people be able to relate with you? Then also, how else you'd be able to inspire people is also by doing. You need to be a leader who does the job, as opposed to be a leader who dictates and tells people what to do. So when they see you doing it, they are able to also see how it's done. Because you don't lead by saying, you lead more by action. Then you can also be able to inspire people by just listening to them. I think leadership can be summed up in terms of the skills, the soft skills that we have, because you see, these are human beings and they have a lot of things going on in their life. So they need to know that you are a leader, but you're also a human being first. Thank you, Peter.
Every leader's trait or every leader's goal is to make sure that he or she inspires the team or the team members to action, to do something that they will all. Now, to inspire somebody to do their best, usually is to recognize their effort openly and also making them know that you actually appreciate what they've done. And when other people hear that you've told the sister so and so, you've done us proud, that was excellent, and let it be from your heart, because people know when you're trying to just put butter on what they have done which is wrong. Let it be from your heart. A genuine appreciation is when you look at somebody who has done something and openly tell them, hey, my friend, that was excellent, that was excellent. But when it is something that you feel like they needed to improve, also do it in a confidential manner so that you don't embarrass such a person. Because you may easily mean well to tell somebody that one, you did not need to do that. But don't bring it in an open environment where the person feels so down until they are like, I don't need to try again. But if you do it confidentially or in a way the person feels like you mean well and you don't need to embarrass the person, they will actually be their best. That's the one I can put in the forum on that discussion topic.
Thank you. Yeah, so maybe in addition to that, remember we said you get to know people and their goals and their mission, their vision, where they'd like to be, what is their dream. The moment you know that, and you are able to link this to what they are doing, they will be inspired. They will find a way that this is going to help them. Take, for example, a student who wants to drop a particular subject, but if you ask them what they'd like to be, you find how this subject is relevant. If you relate with them and share with them how this thing is going to contribute to the person they want to be, it will help them. It will inspire them. Sharing where we are going. At one point, we remember we were being taken to Canaan, and we can see the land flowing with milk and honey. If we can share where we are going, people will be willing to pay the price for it. So let's get to know, somebody had mentioned it. What is in it for them? Where we are going, how is this going to benefit them? Remember, they are here for themselves, not for everybody. First and foremost, they want to benefit as individuals. And this is where I talk about interest. Everyone has a personal interest. And so if we do not help them to understand how their interest is going to be accomplished, then we will not inspire them enough. But if we are able to connect their interest with what is happening, they will be able to produce. The other thing is by our competence. Catherine has said it. If we are competent enough and we know how to do our job, and yet humble enough to move down to them and even help them to learn better, to become better people, they will feel inspired. We don't shout, we don't belittle people, but we recognize where they are and be of value to them, helping them to grow. We should find a way to help them to become better, and they will be inspired to become their best. One other way is telling stories, heroic stories of some other people who are in the same position and manage to grow and achieve extraordinary results. That's one of the ways that people can be inspired. And of course, there is also the incentive method, which we've talked about. I read a book called Think Big by Trump and Bill Zanker. And one of the stories there was where Bill Zanker had this employee who was not producing. He looked defocused, but then when they left, when they were coming from lunch, this guy identified a suit that was very beautiful, and he fell in love with it, wanted it. But then told him, okay, let's go and have a look at it, fit it. Whatever. Then after that, he told him, if you get this particular result, this suit is yours. And when they reached the office that afternoon, that gentleman was able to accomplish that result by the 4-ish. So this guy starts walking outside, and he's asking, where are you going? And then he told him, I'm going for my suit. And sure enough, when he looked at the result, it had been accomplished. So we need to also know how to make use of incentives. Thank you very much. It's already 8:15. I think we've covered a large part of what we were supposed to cover.